What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another West New York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today once again comes from the Rohrbach Brewing Company, and they are out of Rochester, New York, and this is their vanilla porter. So this is an English porter that is brewed with vanilla. It comes in at 5.9% alcohol by volume, 23 IBUs at the time of review. This can is just under 3 months old. So I've been saying this all year when it comes to West New York Wednesdays and the breweries I feature every single Wednesday, and that is I need to do a better job of diversifying the breweries that I do feature every single Wednesday. And Rohrbach is one of those breweries in which I need to drink more of their stuff. They're one of the classic West New York breweries. I've only reviewed one beer from them in the past 40 years, and that was last, I think, January. I reviewed one of their beers. So I picked up one of their like flagship or like classic beers. The three that I always remember from them as far as like their classic beers, their blueberry ale and their Scotch ale, which they call their flagship. And back in the day, talking like the early to mid 2010s, the only way to get Rohrbach beers was Wegmans grocery stores. They would distribute 64 fluid ounce growlers, fully filled, and Wegmans would put them in their cooler. And I remember trying this and the blueberry ale for the first time from those growlers. I always remember this one being damn solid, not mind-blowing or anything, but really good. So I thought I'd pick it up and give it a go. It's been many years. I want to say, oh my God, like 8 or 9 years since I've had this, which is a shame because there's just so many beers now, right? So, you know, it is what it is, but I grabbed this one. We're going to give it a go. Let's give it a pour here into the glass, and I'm hoping that this one, again, I remember the vanilla being, definitely prominent, but not over the top. And then the base beer was really nice. And I like English porters quite a bit, honestly. So, yeah. Nice little cheat there. Definitely good. So it has a head that's fizzing away, but I'll tell you right now, in this glass, this beer looks phenomenal. This is out of my darker beer fridge at 54 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, I mean, it has some condensation on it, but that's because it's a little bit warmer in this room right now. Anyway, beautiful, pitch black, about a finger and a half or just over a finger of this straight up brown colored head. Look pretty creamy, a little soap sudsy look to it. Now it's dissipating a little bit, but not totally going away. Hold it up to the light. Yeah, it has like a root beer kind of vibe. There's like ruby red tinges at the bottom. But I mean, as a whole, I think it looks pretty nice in this Grow Brewing Company glass. I love this glass. I just don't use it enough. Definitely need to use it for darker beers because I like the glass. Anyway, nose. Okay. So it has a nice, like slightly toasty, roasty kind of malt character, but there's a bittersweet kind of chocolate, a little bit of like a slight coffee roast. And then there's this nice vanilla kind of characteristic blanketing the nose. It's not too big or anything, but it's definitely noticeable. A little bit of like a grapey vibe, like a dark grape of some sort. Yeah, roasty and toasty, maybe a touch of a nuttiness. Caramel, toffee hints. Everything is pretty much subdued. I mean, the vanilla is present, which is nice because that's what you want out of a vanilla porter. But none of the other characteristics from the base beer are kind of like shining. It's just, there's a nice complexity here, but it's a subtle complexity. Yeah, it smells pretty good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. What's funny about it, and I'll just be 100% honest with you, like I try to do with all my reviews, the nose does not carry over to the taste. Like, it's like two different beers. Yeah, the nose has more of like a roasty, toasty, almost like, I know it sounds stupid, but like a little bit of like a tart, like sour twinge to it. Almost like it's a milk stout that went a little bit sideways, but then you taste it and it's like none of that's present, which is kind of wild. This is better than I remember taste-wise. The nose, worse than I remember. Body, it's 5.9%. And I think it's like lower sided medium, which I think is fine. I'd like a little bit more heft to it. I want it straight full medium. It's not quite there. But it's nice. The mouthfeel, it has a almost moderate carbonation. So it has an effervescence to it. There's a crispiness to it. It dances on the tongue, the carbonation. But halfway through the palate, on the back, it turns into this nice, smooth, creamy sensation, which really enhances the mouthfeel, honestly, because Outside of that, I think it'd be a little bit too carbonated. I mean, not that English porters need to be super soft and smooth and creamy, but when you do a vanilla porter, I think you need a little bit of smoothness, a little bit of creaminess to it, and I think this one provides that for sure. So the mouth feels better than the body by a substantial margin. I really enjoy it. The taste, like I said, the nose really didn't carry over. First thing that hits the palate is vanilla, and it's pretty heavy on the vanilla. And even though I'd imagine they're using probably vanilla extract and not vanilla beans, because it probably say with vanilla beans. The vanilla is not, you can't tell it's extracty. It's not, natural or artificial. It has a nice pure vanilla kind of characteristic front to back, predominant note. It doesn't really dominate the palate in a negative way, but it's definitely the predominant note for sure. There's underlying, again, roasty, toasty kind of like malt character. There's a little bit of that bittersweet chocolate, mild coffee roast, caramel, toffee, that grape thing. Everything's there, but again, very subtle. There's a subtle complexity to it. On the back of the palate, when it finishes semi to full on dry. There's a big dryness here and a little bit of an earthy kind of twang to it. Not the same twang I was getting in the nose where I was like, even if I go back, it just has, that little I guess it would be like a little, like a slight tartness or sourness that does not translate to the taste, which is wild. 5.9%, you really can't tell outside of the body being a bit thin. I would probably guess is a sub 6% because of that. But the mouthfeel more than makes up for it. But there's no alcohol surety on the palate or anything. This is really well done. I used to give this beer, depending on what mood I was in, like a 3.5 to 3.75. I'm going to give it a little bit higher. I think that the nose is a deterrent. I think if you were to smell this and you're going in like I was like, the subtle complexity. I didn't say tartness or sourness from the beginning because I really, in my brain wasn't putting it together. But then after I tasted it, I went back, I was like, there is like a sour tartness here. Which I, again, sometimes get with like milk stouts when they're using lactose. Sometimes I get a metallic vibe, no metallic. Maybe that's what the nose is, a little metallic. Yeah, maybe metallic into like a, as you keep on going through the review, you're like, maybe it's more metallic. And again, I get that a lot with milk stouts, and usually it doesn't translate into the taste. So I bet you, I'm not saying they use lactose in here. I'm not saying that. But it's a very similar issue that I find in milk stouts where it's metallic in the nose, even sometimes a little bit of that tartness or sourness, and then you taste it and there's nothing there. That's exactly what's happening here. But I think for a classic like staple beer from Rohrbach, I think this is really well done. So vanilla porter from Rohrbach, I am going to give this a low 4 out of 5 and go 3.9. I think without that metallic nose, I'd give it a straight 4. I got to dock it a little bit for that because it definitely does not lead you to wanting to try it. Like if I smelled that, like I was on the tap or whatever, it'd be like, or somebody handed me, I was like, oh, this would not be for me. But then you taste it, you're like, oh yeah, there's vanilla, there's chocolate, the roasted malt, everything's there that needs to be there. But the nose is definitely a bit of a letdown. Luckily, the taste is not. So, man, it's been a long time since I've had this one. It's a little bit better than I remember it, especially taste-wise, but the nose is definitely a bit worse. So, yeah, fun beer, tasty beer. I enjoy it. So, 3.9 out of 5. Price point availability, I think these are like $11.99 or $12.99 4-pack. That's fine. Vanilla porter, 5.9%. You're talking about, somewhere around, $3, $3.25 a can. I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine with that. You might be able to find it cheaper depending on where you shop. I think the place I went to was $12.99 4-pack, and I paid like $3.29 for that can or something like that. It wasn't too bad. I'm fine with that. And availability is Rohrbach. I'm pretty sure they're New York State, mostly in the West New York region. I don't think they get outside the state. So if you're ever in the area, you want to check out one of the older Western New York breweries that still is doing pretty well. This, again, the Blueberry Ale, their Scotch Ale, but they make a lot of fun seasonals. They have IPAs. They have, everything that people clamor for, but their Blueberry Ale, this, and the Scotch Ale are like the 3 that I always remember from them. I remember the Scotch Ale being good, Blueberry Ale being solid. So I picked this one up. Maybe I'll review one of the other ones before the end of the year. Because I need to, this is only the second review now that I've reviewed from Rohrbach, and it's going to be like 4.5 years. That's kind of ridiculous considering they have OG status in the West New York area. So anyway, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. I don't know what I'm reviewing next Wednesday. I might forego West New York Wednesday for a week or two. I got to get to the whodunit / mystery beers that were sent to me by a good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Steven. So I might do a whodunit Wednesday here or there and just forego the the West New York Wednesday for a couple weeks, or maybe I'll post 2 beer reviews in one day and we'll go from there, but we'll see. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here in the Beer Patrol. Like I said, 5.9%, you really can't tell. So yeah. Oh, I didn't even notice, and I should have said at the beginning, so maybe I'll have to put it in the title and whatnot. You can barely see it here, but it says Classic Series. So this is a part of their Classic Series. Whatever. Yeah, I'll probably edit the title and everything. But anyway, shutting it down. To the next one. Cheers.